Hey, how are you? Nice to be back. Thank you for watching this episode of Homebrew Weekly, or Homebrew Whenever. My name is Craig. Today I have a beer that I brewed about a week and a half. I think we did that actually on here. It was that beer kit, that simple one that came in the bag. So it was a simple malt extract beer kit. Came with some hops and yeast. Basically, very simple. If you watched last week's video, you saw that I just basically mixed it with some dry malt extract, some dextrose, put it in the fermenter, added the yeast that came with it. And then in 7 days, I added the hops that they told me to add. And then 3 days later, I kegged it. That was yesterday. And here it is. It's been poured for a few minutes because I forgot to put the memory card in my camera. So anyway, but here it is. Very simple homebrew. Probably just about like a Cooper's, but this is a brand that I've never tried before. Of course, I have already tried this, but I only tried it last night just after I kegged it. So it settled out a little bit. Let's give it a whirl. We're also going to try some wine, which I made. We also saw that. So I will be double-fisted. But let's try this first, shall we? Cheers. It's not bad. It just tastes like a typical kind of a extract beer. Not really a lot of hop presence, but a little bit. It wasn't only, I think it was only like not even an ounce of hops it came with to add later. You can taste them. It's got more of a Pilsner kind of flavor to it. It's very simple. It looks a little cloudy at the moment, but I assume that's because of the hops. Not sure. I don't mind. I don't care about cloudy beer. It's fine with me as long as it tastes good. It's actually surprisingly enjoyable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. It's just your basic beer. It doesn't have any like corn or weird corny flavors or astringencies or anything like that. Seems very simple. Can't really taste the yeast. It's not very sweet. It's got more of a sort of a, I wouldn't say a Pilsner, or maybe a bit of a Pilsner or a light ale taste to it. Pretty basic. Carbonation's nice. I managed to get that straightened around pretty good. So yeah, cheers to that. Thank you, whoever sent that to me. 20 liters of pretty damn refreshing basic beer. Cheers to that. There's nothing wrong with that. My goodness. Boy, oh boy. Easy. Okay. Now, the other thing that I did a couple weeks ago, I think it was, or 3 weeks ago, is I did this wine kit that was sent in, and I basically what it is 23 liters of wine must, grape juice. And I guess it came with some oak chips. Yeah, it came with some oak chips and some dried berries, dried raisins, some sort of berries or raisins or whatever. They were dried, just add them in there. Excuse me. Went through all the normal brewing procedures of brewing wine, and I actually bottled it this time because I don't always bottle my wine. It usually does pretty well right out of the carboy, and I don't usually take it anywhere. But this time I wanted to, because I wanted to show you how beautiful a nice bottle of wine like this can be for a gift for somebody. This is much cheaper than buying wine in most places, not everywhere, certainly where I live. So it looks gorgeous. They come with labels and the cork in and all that stuff. So there you have it. I didn't bother with the shrink wrap thing. It did come with some. I suppose I could have. Hair dryer is broken. I think you're supposed to use a hair dryer to do that. Mine's gone kapooey. So anyway, if anyone can guess the exact weight of this wine bottle, you get to, I'll send it to you. There it is. No, I'm kidding. Because somebody might actually do that. So what I've got is an already opened bottle, but unfortunately I've forgotten to bring my wine glass over here. So hold on a second. I'll get up and get that, and something else I want to show you too. All right, there we go. So I didn't want to open another bottle. This one I may just put away and let it sit for 6 months or a year. Beautiful looking bottle of wine that is. As far as the taste goes, I have tried it, and this bottle is just I didn't care what this one looked like. I had a glass of it last night, so let's get into this and see what we've got. This is a plastic wine glass. I broke all my glass ones, so they're so easy to tip over, after a couple glasses of wine. All right, let's give this a whirl. I'll just pour that much, I guess. Okay. Well, you're not really going to be able to see the color of it because it's quite dark. I can't see through it at all. I don't have I do have a flashlight. Can you believe there's actually a flashlight nearby? Let me see. Okay, you might be able to, yes, you can see that. I'm looking at the monitor over there. So it might look a tiny bit cloudy, but that's because this is a plastic glass. It's actually crystal clear. You could swim in it if you had bright enough lights. So that is gorgeous looking wine. Let's give that a whirl. Cheers. Well, you're supposed to hold them by the stem. That's what the stem is for. So you don't heat up the wine with your hand, although this wine is normally drank room temperature. Red wine is. White wine, no. White wine should be chilled. In general. Try it. Cheers. It's gorgeous. It's mild. I ended up with 25 liters of wine at the end of this. So the juice was a little less, concentrated than maybe, what it's supposed to be. It depends on the grapes. It depends on, the yield or whatever. So it doesn't have any kind of a burn. You can't really taste the alcohol too much, but I can definitely taste the oak chips and the crushed, the dried, I guess they were dried raisins. I thought raisins were already dried. These ones were really dried, like they were little pellets. And it's got a nice fruity flavor, very mild, not very spicy. It's fairly tame as far as flavor goes. And it just tastes like a good glass of red wine. I would be tempted to freeze a little bit of this and make it into sherry. Well, anyway, I don't know how good that would taste. Usually I would do something like that, just one bottle just to try it. Just freeze it, and then of course what you do is when you thaw it, you collect all of the colored juice, but don't collect the water, the ice, because the water freezes, but the alcohol doesn't. So you end up with a stronger thing. I'm not sure you're supposed to do that. I don't know if it's legal or not. I haven't done it. So, I don't know why accidentally freezing a bottle of wine is against the law. But anyway, but no, this is great for, I don't know how much the kit costs because it was sent to me by a kind viewer. But I mean, hey, we're looking at maybe $10, $12 for a bottle of wine around here. So if you're looking to save a little bit of money and make yourself a gorgeous collection of great red wine, you guys can see the label on that. I'm sure you can read that. So, yeah, cheers to that. Awesome stuff. Homemade, homebrew. Oh, awesome. 17. Oh, okay, we got to be double-fisted. There. I know there's another meaning for that, by the way, but we won't get into that. I'm talking about the double-fisted where you've got a drink in each hand. That's what I'm talking about. Cheers. Very, very drinkable. Dangerously drinkable. But good stuff. Good quality wine, that. Okay, now here's the part where I'm going to get accused of being a drunk. No, I just want to taste this again now that I've sort of cleansed my palate with that. It really does just taste like a Pilsner. It has a little bit more flavor than your Coors beers, you know, because those things don't usually have any flavor or color for that matter. They're both awesome. They're both, you know, above average beer, above average wine, especially for homemade. You can't complain about it, especially for the price. I got them for free, but if you were buying these, you are saving money if you pay a lot of high prices for beer. Okay, now, as far as the bottling of this goes, you can collect wine bottles. A lot of times you go to, I was going to film myself bottling this, but it was very awkward and difficult. I needed 2 hands to do this, and wasn't sure if I was going to get the right camera angle, and I was kind of running out of time. So you can collect these bottles from like taverns, a tavern, restaurants where they serve wine. You know, they might just be recycling them. Go to one and say, hey, I make my own wine at home. I was wondering if I could scoot some bottles off of you. You know, I'm sure they would, I don't know, maybe you just give them the deposit, what they're worth. Anyway, and then the corks, of course, you buy. Now, as far as getting the wine into the bottles, normally, you know, same as beer, you just siphon it out with one of those auto siphon things, or maybe you put it into a fermenter that has a tap on it, or, you know, whatever. You can buy little doohickeys that squeeze the tube so you can go from bottle to bottle and whatnot. You get a little bit of drips here and there. I put the bottles into a sort of a Rubbermaid bin, all of them, so that, you know, any mess that was made get into the bin, right? So we didn't make a mess on the floor or whatever. Now this is what I use to bottle my wine. Something out of Star Trek, maybe. And I'll show you how this works. I was going to demonstrate it, like I said, on camera, but it's been a while since I've used it, and you know, it takes an adjustment here, and I just didn't think I was going to be able to get a good camera angle, but I'll show you exactly how it works. Okay? So what you do, you got this tube here. That's kind of that serves as 2 purposes. It's a blow-off tube, and I'll explain that in a second, and it's used to get the wine siphoned up into the thing. So you've got the other tube here. This goes into the carboy. Okay, it has a wire in it, so you can see that I've crimped it there. So you can kind of bend it to the way you want it. You get it down into the bottom, and then you just, there it is. You know, you can put a piece of tape or something across it so it doesn't move, but whatever. So that goes, and you've got that up on a shelf, you know, a bench or a countertop, and then down on the ground or on some sort of a stool, you've got your big bin full of bottles, and that's where this thing comes in. So then so what you've got is this is in the wine. You put this in the first bottle, right, like this. Right, just like that. You can see that it only goes part way down the neck of the bottle. And then the first thing you do is you suck on this thing, and it draws wine up through this tube into here and down into here. Okay? Once that starts going, because you've got this up higher, you know how siphoning works. Once you've got that going, what you do is you press down on this thing. That starts the flow. When it gets up and it's finished, and the nice part about it too is that the wine, the way this is designed, the wine goes down the sides of the bottle. It doesn't just go straight down the middle, because, you know, oxidation could be a bit of a problem. Although we treat the wine before bottling, so it doesn't get oxidized very easily. But it nicely goes down, flows down the sides of the bottle and fills the bottle. When the wine gets up to about here, it pushes up on this thing, and this pops up, stops the flow. Then you take it out, put it in the next bottle, get it in there, press that down, the bottle fills up. When the bottle's full, boop, that pops up automatically, and you just keep on doing that along the way. Now, there is an adjustment here that sort of adjusts how sensitive this is, because there are times when it might not pop up at the right time, and if that happens, then all that occurs is the wine, instead of overflowing the bottle, it starts going through this tube. And what you do is you put this tube in another wine bottle somewhere down the line, so that if you do have a overflow situation, the wine's just going to go into another bottle. And then you can just shut it off manually. So it's a beautiful device. Don't ask me what it's called. Is there a name on it here? I never even thought to look. I will look at this after I'm finished filming this video, and if there's anything on here, information at all, I will put it on the bottom of the screen. If there's no information, then, well, I'm sorry, I can't. But it's just a wine bottler, and once you get used to it, it takes a little fiddling. You know, this little screw here, it adjusts the sensitivity of this thing, you know, so that it pops up at the right time. And as you can see, every bottle of wine gets filled up to its, you know, regular capacity, and it makes bottling wine very easy. I don't know whether you could use it for beer. I never even thought of that. I don't know. Beer needs to be bottled easily, like, you know, gently. You don't want to be, you want the thing in the bottom of the bottle filling from the bottom up, so you don't splash your beer around, because beer is sensitive to oxidation, especially because we don't use, you know, the sulfites and whatnot in beer like we do in wine, which prevent oxidation. So, but that is what I use, and I haven't used this in a long time. I was kind of reluctant to drag it out, but it is, once you get to know how to use it. Now, as far as cleaning it goes, well, that's a cinch. You can take it apart, but I don't know how many screws you want to mess with. All I did was I put this down into some Star San, put this into an empty wine bottle, sucked on that thing, and then just let the sanitizer go through and into the wine bottle, and that just cleanses all the innards of it. And then just, of course, the outside you just wash and spray with Star San. So, or sodium metabisulfite if you're using that. You don't have to rinse that off when you're bottling wine, because there's sulfites in the wine anyway. So that is my wonderful wine bottling thing. I'll just put that over here. I'll set that aside. Get that sorted out later. So there you have it. Whoops, I nearly spilled this damn wine. Sorry. There you have it. A beautiful bottle of red wine. I'd like to make a, next time when these are gone, I'd like to make some white wine. I haven't had white wine in a while. I missed that. So, that is my story about how I made and bottled this wine. If you don't have one of those fancy things, you can just get a regular auto siphon, or the ones you pull and you pump in and out and it starts to flow. And you just get like a crimper. You can buy them, or you just bend the tube and just fill each bottle. You're going to end up with some mess in between, but that's why you use a big container to put all the bottles in, so you can easily just rinse that out when you're done. Okay, so I think that if you like wine at all, I think you should try making it. It's awesome. So coming up next time we do this, we're going to brew the next thing that I have ready to brew. This should have been brewed months ago, I guess. A couple of beer kits that were sent in. One of them is a pumpkin flavored beer. Well, that was supposed to happen around Halloween time. Doesn't matter. I think that's the next one I'd like to get going. I also have I believe it's a stout or a porter that was sent in from the UK that I also would like to get going. And then after that, I have another batch of wine. This is a smaller kit, still makes 23 liters. I'll probably brew it to 20 liters though. And that is the same as this, really. You just put it all together and you add water or whatnot. So I probably won't film that, or maybe I will during a Homebrew Weekly. And then I've got another box full of goodies that was recently brought to me and dropped off, that I'm supposed to about making up a recipe. All the stuff's there, but it's not measured out. So we're going to see what we can come up with as far as a recipe for that. And I think I will involve you guys in that, and we'll see what we come up with. I'll tell you what we've got in the box, and then we'll make you guys can comment down below, and we'll see what we can build as a beer. Okay, I think I mentioned to you this to you before, but when I do that, that's what we're going to do. That's about all I've got for you this week. Thank you very much. All I can do now is say, hey, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for thumbing up the videos, or thumbing it down if you feel that's the necessary thing to do. It doesn't matter. Any interaction with this video will put it higher up on the priority list at YouTube. Certainly love to see your comments down below, and share the video on Facebook or wherever you hang out with as many people as you like. It's just a guy talking about brewing. Not very much going on here, but more is coming. More variety is coming up as well as my vinyl channel, which I've been neglecting lately. I have to get back to that too. My shirts are available, and yes, I filled them up. I filled them up pretty good. I've got, I've been around a little while. I got a bit of a belly. tgtshirts.com for shirts like this. This is Craig's Dungeon, which is another video that I'm coming out with very soon. Another episode of that, telling you what equipment I use when I shoot these videos and how I do all of this. The video is already partially shot. I just have to finish it. So that's happening. And of course, Friday nights live, bonlive.tv/CraigTube, 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's Toronto, New York time. Friday nights, we have a ball. It's just great tunes, great chat room. If you don't want to chat, you can just hang out and listen. I take some Skype calls. I play retro music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, stuff I grew up with. I've worked very hard on my sound quality, so it sounds better than any radio you can ever turn on. And I hope to see you there. Or I hope that you at least drop in and say hi, or just tune in and enjoy the great tunes and the great atmosphere that we have there. The chat room is fantastic. We've got great ladies and gentlemen in the chat room, all getting along wonderfully. Beautiful family. There's usually over 100 people there, and I love doing it. My dream was always to be a radio DJ. That was always my, aspiration, if you will. It never happened. I didn't go down that path, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because these days, radio stations are kind of automated. There's hardly any need for a DJ at all. The guy walks in, says a bunch of stuff, the song starts playing, and he walks out. Somebody calls him in 20 minutes, half an hour later, and he goes and talks for another 5 minutes, and then he's gone. It's not much fun anymore. Not like it used to be, where we actually had songs queued up, records, tapes, files that we had to manually start, play commercials and sweepers in between, and time it all by hand. No computers. Well, of course we use a computer to do the broadcast, but it's all done on the fly, and that's fun for me. I really enjoy that. Something I always wanted to do. So if you want to see me living out my one of my dreams, Friday night 10 p.m. on vonlive.tv/CraigTube is where you want to be. There, I got all that out of the way, and I got a big supper in my belly. So I think I'm going to finish this beer and that wine and sit back and watch some YouTube. Thank you for joining, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks a lot for your continued support. Cheers. Be safe. Which way does it go? 17.